Thank you so much for having me here today. It's a big day. I'm really pleased to be involved in celebrating International Day for Women in Maritime 2024. I'm here to talk about our Diversity at Sea pilot. But before getting into that, let me briefly introduce the Global Maritime Forum. So we're an international not-for-profit organization committed to shaping the future of global maritime trade. We co-create together with our community a compelling transformation agenda when it comes to decarbonization and human sustainability. The All Aboard Alliance is one of our biggest initiative in the Human Sustainability Program. The Alliance focuses on making the industry more diverse, more equitable, and more inclusive. And here's a short video that will talk a little bit more about what the All Aboard Alliance is.
The work for the All Aboard Alliance is so important because we need to have a society of people wanting to join this fantastic industry that we all work for. And I think that's a real challenge for the industry if they don't attract new talent and of course retain the talent that we do have. This is about collaboration from across the board. Not one part of the industry can solve this on their own. It has to come through collaboration.
We've had for many years a lot of issues in terms of attracting the right talent. We are at the moment standing ahead of a situation in the world where there will be a lot of changes to the energy complex. There's a lot of changes around environmental regulation. There's a lot of changes on digitalization. So all of these things require that we can get the best people. And in order to get there, we need to create an inclusive environment, a safe environment.
As an industry, we're actually going through a transformation. We're going through a transformation when it comes to decarbonization, when it comes to digitalization. This is what's going to enable us to have innovation. This is what's going to enable us to have creativity. And this is what's going to lead us ultimately to be able to decarbonize, digitize, and transform the whole industry.
In our very first high-level meeting within the All Aboard Alliance, it was very clear that we need to do something quickly to address the lack of gender balance at sea. In order to fully understand the challenges that prevented women from working at sea, we did 115 interviews to identify what were the pain points that they were experiencing. In spring last year, we published this report that showcased the 15 pain points for women at sea that were sort of explicit in defining how women experienced that it was more difficult for them to succeed professionally at sea. They also experienced more challenges when it came to social relations on board. There were some systemic challenges that were really important, and then finally the physical conditions at sea. We learned a lot from those 115 interviews, and we have a lot of powerful quotes that detail out some of the 15 pain points. So I'll show you here a brief video to hear this from the women themselves. So once we had understood what those challenges were, we then convened into a series of co-design workshops where we had seafarers from all different ranks, we had industry leaders, we had all the relevant experts that worked together on designing, so how can we address these challenges on board in the best possible way. This led us to then design the setup of the pilots. The vessels involved had to then live up to 5 minimum requirements based on what we co-designed in the workshop. So the first requirement was inclusive PPE equipment for everyone on board. The second requirement was that they had to have an ambitious gender composition on board, which meant a minimum of 4, but many of the vessels involved have had much more than 4 women, and one of them we asked to be a senior officer. Thirdly, we asked for appropriate measures for menstruation on board, and especially the disposal of menstrual products on board. Fourth, we asked for more inclusive physical conditions, so changing rooms, access to your own sort of private bathroom. And finally, we asked that everyone had access to an independent anonymous helpline, and they were all asked to provide high quality Wi-Fi access for everyone on board. We also asked that they provide ambitious measures for an inclusive work environment on board, that they provide an environment free from abuse, harassment, and took active measures to prevent and respond to sexual misconduct, and that they would look into how they could provide a better work-life balance for the seafarers on board. So really ambitious pilot. We're very pleased to have 12 different companies involved in the pilot, and we are pushing out questions to seafarers on board these 12 vessels each and every day. We were able to formally launch the pilot in October of last year in connection with the Global Maritime Forum Annual Summit in Athens. So here's a brief video just to show a little bit from our launch. Today we launched the All Aboard Alliance Diversity at Sea pilot project, which is a collaboration between 11 companies, each investing 1 vessel in exploring and piloting how we can make life at sea more attractive and inclusive to both men and women.
Challenge here to get females to sea is a multitude of fronts. Career prospects, balancing it with family life, and feeling that they will be included and have the opportunities, and that it is not just a totally male-driven industry. BP have joined the pilot to help understand the issues and get the feedback, so then we can move forward and action a plan to help improve the diversity going forward.
We're very happy that we had the launch of the pilot vessel of All Aboard Alliance. Dorian is one of the 11 companies that participates, and we just want to see the start of it and see where it will take us. Being part of All Aboard Alliance, we see things that we might not have considered before, because there are many companies, everybody say their point of view, and all together we can try to reach perfection.
When we launched in October, we had the first 6 vessels starting out, where we collected data every day from the seafarers on board. And on April 1st, we were able to add the next 6 vessels. The pilot is set up in a way where we, of course, focused primarily on identifying what can be done to improve conditions for the seafarers. But apart from seafarers, in the pilot, we're also engaging with a range of different stakeholders, all of whom have an interest in improving conditions for women. So we're engaging with ship owners, of course, with charterers, with the financial sector, with marine insurers, with policymakers, with cargo owners, etc. So our ambition with the pilot is that together we can align on a set of golden standards for what does an inclusive and attractive vessel look like. And hopefully later this year, we should be able to not just share our recommendations for the MLC 2006 amendments, but also overall to define, together with all the stakeholders involved, a set of golden standards that will make life at sea not just inclusive, but attractive to women going forward. So that was it from me. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to the IMO for having us here today. And again, congratulations on Women in Maritime Day 2024.